Well, he's played alongside jazz greats like Charlie Parker and Tommy Dorsey, and since the 1950s, he's been featured on more than 100 different albums. Now he's sharing his life story in the new book, Leave It to Me, My Life in Music. I recently got the chance to chat with music great and Connecticut resident Donn Trenner. Well, Donn, you've had such an extensive career. Let's start with the music itself. What drew you to jazz?
Well, I started as a classical pianist. I'm sure my parents would have liked that better. But when I went to high school in New Haven, the Glenn Miller Orchestra was stationed here. You're probably too young to know who that is, but it was probably one of the most famous orchestras in America. And I was very influenced by that, and I started to write arrangements in school. My marks went from honors down to just passing.
That's okay, though. Yeah. You graduated. That's what counts.
Yeah, well, I was, it was an apprenticeship for me.
Got it.
So music's been in my life all of my life.
You have. It has. And you have a new book out, which is very exciting.
It's exciting for me. It's, it's a little bit overwhelming.
Leave It to Me, My Life in Music, and it kind of, would you say, tells all your stories in the music biz?
A lot of stories. The picture on the front of the book is the orchestra that was on the Steve Allen show 5 nights a week. You're probably too young to know
who that is. It
is.
was in the 60s, right?
Yeah.
I'm a little too young, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I was sort of, people say I was sort of the first Paul Schaefer.
Yeah.
Because we did a lot, 5 nights a week. We burn up a lot of talent,
I would say. So you've worked with some really big names. Let's talk about Shirley MacLaine. What was that like?
It's an experience everybody should have, She's an amazing woman.
Really?
Truly amazing. I call her a plateau seeker.
Okay.
Because as she's on her way up to this plateau, when she gets about here, she's already found another one that she's going to go to. She's quite amazing. Quite amazing. Cy Coleman and I wrote her nightclub act. We were nominated for an Emmy for a show we did in New York called Gypsy in My Soul, and it was a great experience. I traveled internationally with her, and it was wonderful.
That's great. What about Anne Margaret?
Oh, Anne Margaret's one of the sweetest in the whole world.
That's great to hear.
She's from Sweden, and she's an only child, as I was, so we shared a lot of in commons, She's an amazing lady. She just is as conspicuous as she may be visually. That's not really who she is. She's much. Sometimes in a rehearsal studio, you have to look for her. She's wonderful, just great.
Good. And we can't forget about Bob Hope. I think a lot of people recognize that name.
Yeah, but when I'm out talking, and I'm doing a lot of speaking now because of the book, if they're young people in the audience, they don't know who Bob Hope is. I know. Yeah. So it's experientially, it's been a wonderful life,
Yeah,
I'm
sounds
very grateful, and I feel very blessed.
What was it like writing the book?
Difficult for me because it was done in a different manner. I was talked into it by a professor at Dartmouth who teaches music history and low brass instruments. And he wrote a letter to me telling me that he thought I had a moral responsibility to share the diversity of my career.
Wow. And
so he came to my house, and we did most of it in a tape recorder. And he would take it home, and his wife would transcribe it, and he would send me 100 pages. And I couldn't read it. I felt, this is too conceited a project for me. So it took a lot of time. It was exasperating for him because I couldn't.
Well, you're a humble guy, but the stories you have to tell are probably just incredible.
Yeah, well, I'm getting a little more used to it now. I did a book signing the other night, and there were like 175 people there, and it was a lot of fun, but it's different.
And I'm sure
I'm starting to enjoy it, though. Yeah.
Good. Donn, what did you bring with you here today?
That's someone that I worked with many times. I went to Madrid, to Spain, and did a television special with him. Everybody knows who he is. That's Tony Bennett, and he's a very famous artist.
I've heard of him.
I bet you have, yeah. So he called me into his dressing room one day, and we just sat down and talked, and he was busy with his pencil, and he did a pencil sketch of me, and of course I got it framed. He did it on a small...
Yeah, I would have held on to that.
Oh, absolutely. It was on a small piece of paper, but it was wonderful. I mean, and he got the image. It's amazing.
Yeah. Pretty cool. And now, are you still in the music business?
Oh, yeah.
You are.
I have an orchestra that plays every Monday night in Hartford called the Hartford Jazz Orchestra. It's not a combo. It's a 17-piece orchestra.
Wow.
And it's it's exciting. We have a lot of fun. We played there Monday night, and we'll be there again next Monday.
Very good. And we know that you have a book signing coming up, actually 2 of them, one at R.J. Julia
That's
on the
right.
20th, and then you're going to be in Guilford at Breakwater Books
That's correct, yeah.
on the 18th. So
Yeah.
we'll check you out there. Don, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for sharing your stories.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. I'm honored that you asked me.
Great to meet you.
Likewise.
All right, again, the name of Don's book is Leave It to Me, My Life in Music.